is an overview of the case study written by Professor Alfonso Vargas on the company Authentrex. Authentrex is an online travel agency with multiple online sales channels based in Huelva, a city in southwestern Spain, close to the border with Portugal. The company was established in 2005 by two partners, Mark Walker and Carmelo Ferreira. Neither of two partners had experience in internet technology, and only one of the partners, Mr. Ferreira, had any experiences or background in tourism as the owner of a campsite. Both of them, however, had experiences with startup business of different types. The company has been financed with private capital, without grant aid of any description, and in 2010 it reached break-even point despite the adverse financial situation in Spain. The original idea for the company was based on the belief that both internet technology and tourism are growth areas, and once combined with the correct focus could provide a winning business formula. The company took 2 years to set up. The official launch on the first online platform, visithuelva.com, took place in July 2007, and today it is a fully fledged and operational specialist online travel agency dealing with all aspects of travel and tourism for the province of Huelva and nearby and better known destinations such as Seville, Cadiz and Portuguese Algarve. The pre-launch time was spent almost entirely on research before any staff members were employed. System developed, web pages published or suppliers contracted, and before the central office opened in Huelva city. Travel products include online accommodation bookings, activities, tour, visits, entrance tickets, plus transportation services, principally airports and train station transfers. By combining these simple products, online products, they can offer a full range of complex holidays packages of their own creation, providing diverse travel experience. Being a destination specialist with local knowledge, local contacts, and direct contracts with local suppliers has allowed them to develop a department which takes care of all arrangements for group travel. The group travel products start with simple duration activities and tours, more complex day trip involving more than one travel product, and finally complex travel arrangements for groups which include accommodation, transport, guides, restaurants and activities. Main group customers are schools, universities, companies and associations. The subject of this case study is the conceptualization and setting up of a fully developed travel web destination and the design of its strategy. So, as a student of strategic management and business policy, I had to read this case study at least once, but I was really positively surprised, so I can say that I read it at least 10, if not 15 times. This company is really something special, and the thing I was surprised the most was definitely their long period of researching. They devoted 2 years just to understand customers' needs, and afterwards they did their business plan. They only had a pure idea, without any contacts, without infrastructure, and also their financial backing was limited. But the thing was that they had great attitude, they had a big will, they were determined enough, and they didn't stop for a moment. And once when they were on the top, they knew they need to be flexible, so they will stay there.
So thank you for joining us, Mr. Walker. Let me ask you a few questions as a supplementary material on your company's case study on Authentrex, more known by its trademark visithuelva.com. So according to your experience in the tourist industry, what competitive advantages does an online company enjoy over a traditional offline company? In other words, what are the key factors for success for an online travel agency as yours?
Well, firstly, nice to see you, Alfonso. Nice to see you again. The advantages are all really, when you think about it. We're 24/7. we're open 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Some of our suppliers, they ask us on Monday morning, were you working at 3 o'clock on Saturday morning? We say no, we're an online company. That would be the first thing, that we've got 24 hours 7. Another thing I would say is the amount of data that we can collect through being an online company. We know where the people come from. We know how long they've been on the web. We know what they've looked at. We know how much they've spent. We know the profile. We have so much data that we can then analyze, and this becomes business intelligence to focus the company. A third advantage would be the direct sales, because we're a business to business to consumer. There are so many intermediaries in the tourism industry, tour operators, third parties. It really reduces costs if you have a direct sale, direct access to the customer, directly from the supplier to the customer. Other advantage would be reach, basically. We have web visits from maybe 161 different countries in any given month. From Spain, maybe 150 different cities. The reach is incredible. And once again, it's 24 hours 7. Sometimes it can be confusing, because our customers from California get in touch at 9 o'clock at night saying good morning, things like that. But it becomes a global business when you're online, basically.
How does being an online company affect the different aspects of a company on a day-to-day basis, from product innovation to marketing and customer relationship management, for instance?
Probably the key advantage to the online company in that respect comes from the amount of data that we collect. It means that on a day-to-day basis, we collect that data and we respond accordingly. Because we're in-house, so the programming, the product innovation, the planning, we have very few external companies, which means basically that our response time is very fast. Now, an interesting thing has happened recently. Since 3 weeks ago, we've had a 60% increase in French customers. Since Mr. Sarkozy has started to talk about Spain and Greece, but he is on national television. There has been a sudden increase in our tourism of French tourists. There's no such thing as bad publicity. So we're very quickly responding to this. Suddenly I have someone who speaks French in the office answering these French clients. And so I would say the response time is fundamental. That's what it affects. We can innovate very quickly. We can experiment very quickly. We can test things. We can do A/B testing. We can change one thing and measure the results. This is something that an offline company just doesn't have. They don't have these tools to direct the company.
In general, does public sector patronage, grants, subsidies, strengthen or weaken a business initiative? So I guess your opinion has particular value, having arrived from a part of Europe with a different business mentality.
An interesting question, and you know that I'm not very fond of public intervention. I remember when I started the company, I have some partners, some technology partners in London, and I told them that I was negotiating with the public authorities to have an agreement on a public-private partnership for a company, and they just simply asked me, why? And I said, why are you doing this? Do you not have a business? I think that the businesses are based on business planning. Businesses are based on market opportunities. They're not based on politics. They're not based on what the public administration favour or want to support. I remember I heard a funny story of some children who were playing in the garden and they were making noise. And the man came out of the house and he said, "Listen, children, I'll give you 100 euros to make more noise." The next week he said to the children, "I can only give you 50 euros to make noise." And then the following week he said, "I can't give you anything to make noise." And the children said, "We don't make noise for nothing," and they left. I think it's the same with the businesses. You can't pay a business to do what to incentivize what they should normally do, because in the end they don't do anything unless they receive the money. In our case, we have never actually asked for any grant aid. Number one, because it takes too long. And number two is that I cannot adapt my business strategy to the legislation. It distorts the business reality. I see an opportunity, I see something that I have to do, and then to try to adapt this business plan to certain rules and regulations that I have to fulfill, just it seems absurd to me, really. So we're not very keen.
We know that the tourist industry is a mosaic of interconnected tourist companies, public services, environmental factors, cultural identity. Does this imply that public-private partnership is the only viable way to optimize tourist potential in a destination?
I agree. In a utopian world, I totally agree. We need rational people in the academia, in local authorities and in business to work together on a public-private partnership based on research and based on statistics and based on knowledge, and that these decisions are taken according to an objective that we want to reach, not personal interest of each one. The key word is partnership. But very often this is the difficult thing to understand. A partner is an equal partner, where everyone has an equal voice and an equal input. The situation sometimes seems to be that support or partnership comes from above, and you cannot support from above, you can only support from below. So the idea, some people have to take more involvement and others have to take less protagonism, so that you reach the equilibrium of the partnership. In a utopian world, on paper, this is the way to go. In practice, extremely difficult.
And finally, what do you consider as the main challenges ahead for your company in the next few years?
Oh, we have many challenges, but the company is growing and getting better, and we're getting fast. Our response time is getting faster, and we're becoming a company that accepts that there is complete chaos in the world. For example, Sarkozy. Who can make a business plan to know that a French president will talk about Spain negatively, and this will foment tourism in Huelva? Who can plan for this? So it seems that we have not only accepted chaos and accepted change, but it has become part of our, we're becoming opportunists, and that in every change we see an opportunity to react. One of the main challenges is to avoid ossification. I would say not to be too successful too quickly, which is also linked to the subsidy idea. The constant difficulties are good for the company. The constant difficulties become challenges. The difficulties become opportunities to learn new things and to grow. This would be my main fear, that we reach a certain level of success and stop, when instead of constantly in evolution. A company is is a living thing, it's a growing thing, this is why we talk about organisms. It has to be constantly growing and evolving in a certain direction. This would be one of my fears. Then of course the normal mundane, keep up to date in technology, keep up to date with market development, things that are outside our control, like the beach being washed away in Matalascañas, for example, or the lack of infrastructure in Huelva, or demand terrorist attack, or things that are out of our control. Things like the toll charge for Portugal, which is for us an opportunity. We're taking steps to become experts in toll charges, extra customer attention, organizing tours so that people can go together, reduce costs. Everything is an opportunity.
So once again, thank you very much for your time.
Not at all, not at all. A pleasure, a pleasure.